Hello, this is Angelia with today's wisdom. Today's wisdom comes from Daily Ohm. Honesty is best. The energy of honesty. As children, most of us learn that honesty is better than dishonesty. And we may not question this beyond whether or not to do what we're told. Now, a lot of little kids learn pretty quick to lie. And they learn that from other kids. They learn that from their parents. And most of us do tell. Actually, all of us do tell little white lies. We cover our lies to cover ourselves, cover other people to keep them safe or whatever. And that's just a psychological fact. But again, it is always better to be honest. Honesty is the best policy. It's like you see those memes. It's like if you're telling the truth, you don't have to remember what lie you made up, and things of that nature. But doing what we're told, sometimes, and like I said, my kids were taught in school to look out for themselves. I was not taught that. I know a lot of people who I grew up with in our generation who were not taught that. We were basically taught obey at all costs or we will destroy you kind of thing. And so there were a lot of us in my generation that had some bad things happen to us at the hands of other adults because we were afraid that our parents would, put some retribution on us if we didn't do what they said. So, I'm glad the society has changed that up so that future generations know they have a right to say no if someone tells them to do something that's not okay. As adults, however, we can go deeper to examine our choices as investments of energy because that's what your choices are. It's an investment of your energy. What do you want to put your energy into? And is it worth it to you? With predictable risks and returns, because you can always fail or, it can always succeed. So you have to be prepared for that. Not everything you choose to do or choose is going to work out for you. So there are risks and returns, and in some of the business classes I took, that's one thing. The rate of return, return on interest, is it worth it in the long run? When we speak the truth, we affirm what already is, because that's the truth. The facts, what it is. You should not have to work to tell the truth. The truth is what it is. It's the truth. This is like using a paddle when the stream is already moving the same direction. Like I said, if you feel like you have to work at the truth, then you might want to go talk to somebody and get that purged. Because that's a great analogy there. The stream's already moving you, but you're using a paddle to go the same way it's already taken you. But there are some people, and like I said, I myself was taught that it was okay to, exaggerate or put some foibles on some things, and so sometimes you have to learn things you've been taught. We are already supported by the universe and its energy flow, so we don't need to exert much energy, leaving more for other pursuits. So a lot of people do this. They try too hard, especially men. I have come across men out in the business world who just are cutthroat, get to the top, make the most, doesn't matter who you step on, doesn't matter who you shove out of the way. And you probably don't care, but the rest of us kind of have opinion on that. But, you don't have to work that hard. You do what you need to do, and you do it to the best of your ability, and then you let the results go. If you know you did your best, let the results go, because it's either going to fail or it's going to succeed. Only two things that are going to happen. But dishonesty redirects a portion of our energy against the flow, which requires extra effort. So when you're being dishonest, you're kind of going against reality. Reality is a certain way, and when you're being dishonest, you're twisting that to be what you want it to be. And that's okay if you're writing a fiction novel or whatever, but in reality, it's not okay. Because number one, if you want to be a good person, then you're not supposed to be dishonest. Number two, it's dumb to be dishonest because people can find you out, so you're just gonna make yourself look like a dummy, for lack of a nicer term. And it's hateful, if you're being dishonest with people, you're showing your lack of respect for them and your lack of respect for yourself. And it's not, what decent people do, so, you're kind of making yourself look bad. In addition, it creates an alternate reality that requires further energetic input to be maintained. And I have an in-law that lied so much in the past, and now she's getting old and she has dementia, and she can't keep up with her lies anymore. So she'll tell you something which is not what she told you before, so, that's interesting when a person lies and then later on they can't remember their lies. And as I said, if you tell the truth to begin with, you don't have to remember your lies. So, that's a good point. Because eventually it's going to be found out, whatever is done in the darkness is going to come out into the light. So we can easily see that we are best served when we work with the flow of the universe, or, just being a decent person. Excuse me. Because it's really not accomplishing anything. I mean, and little kids will lie in a bragging way. Well, my dad this, my uncle this, blah, blah, blah. Why I got this, and that's just kids being kids. They all do that. But you need to teach them that that's not the right way. Excuse me, my goodness. Life's not always clearly defined, so we may find it useful to follow our choices to their logical conclusions. Because like I said, choices you make, they're either going to work out or they're not going to work out. And that's it. Once you realize that and accept that, you can let go of outcomes. You might want so bad for something to work out, and it just doesn't, or you might want so bad for something not to go a certain way, and it does. But again, you have no control over that unless you have done something to make that happen. We may feel that little untruths are harmless, but they can be like small cracks that weaken an overall structure over time. And that's true. Like I said, there are people I know that I grew up with little white lies. It's fine. Nobody will know. Nobody cares. I didn't want to talk to them anyway, blah, blah, blah. Don't want them around. But then that piles up, and pretty soon your little white lies have turned into this big structure, that you've built. And it's hard to maintain because you got to remember what you were telling people, So, again, not good. Even giving someone a compliment or trying to protect them can create problems later when the alternate reality we've created becomes the basis for further actions. And I have seen this where people have tried to be nice to other people, and so, oh yeah, I love that, that's great. Like, I did that once at a party. I complimented someone's food. because they asked me, and I didn't want to be rude, and so I said, "Oh yes, it's very good." So then this person then made more of this and brought it to me. So then I'm like, "Oh my gosh, thank you, yeah, you can eat that." No, I'll take it home and do it, and just emptied the thing out in the trash and brought their bowl back. So yeah, that can happen. We mean well, but it sometimes backfires on us. Even if the actions that follow are honestly done, the underlying unstable foundation of dishonesty will threaten to topple things eventually. Because, like I said, everything done is going to be found out. Life doesn't need to be this draining, but we can make the choice to free ourselves from the bonds of dishonesty at any time. And we can. It's a choice. It's a choice to lie. It's a choice to tell the truth. This can lead to further energy being spent on keeping things hidden, working to remember the tales we've spun, and fearing the consequences of being found out. And this is a big thing in middle school. I know girls, would tell things, and then they'd be like, "Oh, everybody's gonna know I made a fool of myself, didn't I?" And blah blah blah. And this is drama that goes on between girls in middle school. That's just weird. And it's all them trying to be, liked, to fit in, to be popular, whatever. And, excuse me, hopefully, my goodness, hopefully you outgrow that. Speaking and living our truth may involve risking, among other things, the possibility of rejection. Like I said, when I came out and spoke the truth about what happened to me as a kid, I did face rejection. There were people who actively came out against me. So, some people might have said, and I've actually had a person say, I'd have never told. But that was a secret. That was someone else's thing they did to me. And I was keeping this secret, and it was eating me up inside. It was just little by little. Every time a memory, a dream, a word from someone, it was just eating me up. So by keeping their secret, basically it was hurting me. And I finally got presence of mind enough to say, no, I'm not going to let this hurt me anymore. This is not my secret. What was done to me is mine, but I'm not keeping it for that reason. The reason I'm keeping it is because I was told to, under threat of, extreme violence or even death. So, but when we allow ourselves to follow the flow of life, we are supported. We can then use our energy to cultivate physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being and to create our dreams, rather than leaving ourselves too drained to even maintain our existence. And that's true. If you've got a habit of that, let it go. Let it go. Give it up like it is a bad habit, like smoking or drinking or whatever. And be truthful. And that's something, that sometimes we have to learn, especially if we come up in a household where, untruths are okay in certain situations. And you might have to learn that, you got to deprogram yourself a little bit. That it's not okay, And I think, I don't know, I probably was 8 years old when I was lying to classmates because my life was so crap. I made up a new life. I had this wonderful family, this wonderful uncle, and I just made up this whole family life that I had because the truth was so bad. I didn't want to tell people that, because I let one thing slip to the teacher one time. She's like, "Wait, what?" And then I was like, "Oh." And so I learned to just make up my wonderful family, and that's what I talked about. And when I was 8 years old. Um, Today, we can make honesty our choice in every interaction, bringing the nurturing power of the universe's energy into our lives to bring positive, lasting results. Because when you start being honest with other people and honest with yourself, sometimes that's the problem there. Is you got to overcome being dishonest with yourself. I'm okay. I'm fine. I can work this out. I can do this. And sometimes you need help. Sometimes you need help. Sometimes it's too big. I know my burden was too big for me to deal with on my own. I had to go and get some help from some other people. Otherwise, I would not have made it. I know that. I had, a couple of plans to not make it. So, you know, um, honesty is the best policy. And when you change your energy from being a dishonest person to being an honest person, you do find that you're happier, that, you have less of a burden on yourself. Um, and, it's just a better way of life. Think about it. That's all for now.